Hi, this is Dennis McDonald with A1 Telephone Service and Repair, A1 Electronics. I'll be your host today. The telephone that we are looking at is a Radio Shack 2-line telephone. It was in the design of what was called it's more of a design like the Western Electric type style phones that we know pretty well. It's a very good phone. This 2-line Radio Shack phone, I don't know if you can see in the handset there, says Radio Shack. We've already removed where the number pad, if you don't know anything about telephones and you're just watching because you're interested or you like electronics, there is a number plate here, like on many phones. Once that's removed, you can take the 2 screws out and the body will come off. There's line 1, line 2, and hold, redial, pulse, and tone. Anyway, this was in the shape of a mini wall phone, what they called a mini wall phone, but it's a 2-line phone. And then on the cover it has a high and low and off. I assume that's probably for the bell. Now, the customer sent this in and he complained of a couple of different things, like the hold wasn't working right or line 1 and 2 wasn't working right. And I kind of looked the phone over and I didn't see any of that. But what I did see was, and this is why when you work on telephones, you have to, sometimes these things, the customer said that the phone has been sitting a long time. The customers end up getting confused and they don't really remember what's going on. So you can get a little detail from them once in a while, but you can't get that much detail from them all the time because sometimes they don't remember. And so they throw these things in a box somewhere and then they decide to have them repaired and they can't quite remember what's going on with them. So I have done some initial checks on this telephone, and from what I found was there's no transmit. And basically down here is where your modular handset cord would plug into. Well, if you look at this plug, what happens a lot of times is you probably won't be able to see this on the film, but inside this plug there's some little gold prongs, and there's always 4 of them on a handset. Some handsets, well, I'm not going to get into that. That's a long story, and that'd be a different type of telephone. But any telephone that has a handset is going to have 4 conductors inside of it. Well, those four pins kind of sit in there like that, okay? And 2 of them are bent real bad, okay? So they're bent real bad, and I'm surprised that the customer was able to get the line cord in and out. And I'm assuming that they didn't really get it in and out very often. But it was all bent up. And the reason why it probably got bent up was the customer associated this, or someone associated this handset plug, modular port plug, to be the problem, most likely. Or they were assuming that the handset cord was the problem. Well, even if you didn't have these pins all bent up in this modular port, which they are all bent up, even if they weren't all bent up, this handset cord isn't going to work in a million years. This handset cord, when you're working on telephones, you kind of got to look everything over. This handset cord only has 2 conductors in it. And some cheap phones that have like a little base unit and then go over to a handset and you hang the handset up on them, this is a 2-line cord because what this is doing is supplying the line voltage to the phone itself. Okay? And this telephone here, I'm going to try to show you something that I'm talking about. almost like a phone, like this, where it has its own receiver and its own transmitter, okay? A handset cord like this would go to a phone like this because everything is in the phone itself. And this phone probably had a base unit that it plugged into, or it sat on, okay? Well, this is a line cord type handset cord, and it's only 2 conductor for tip and ring, okay? So not in a million years would the customer ever get the phone working with this handset cord. This handset cord is only 2 conductor. So you could do all you wanted to this telephone, and it's never going to work right. And in his case, since this was only a 2 conductor line cord, you only had receive. So at some point in time, the original cord got parted from this telephone, and it ended up with this one. And so maybe from going in and out of the handset port all the time, it got all bent up. And they may have stuck something in there and bent it up. Who knows? It's hard to say what happens. But so we have to get rid of this handset cord, and we have to install a new port for the handset. This one's all bent up, so what we're going to basically do is we're going to cut the wires here, and we're going to heat shrink on a new plug. And I'm going to just go ahead and ignore that call because they'll get it in the office. The phone in the back here is an A&E payphone, and it is chrome, and that's another project. So I just wanted to show you that we work on multiple phones here, so we're pretty busy. We work on as many of them a day as we can, and you don't get them all done in the same day. But anyway, like I said, we're gonna start repairing on this this modular port. We'll replace that, and then we're going to replace the handset cord. And then what we're going to do is we're going to test the phone out, do a final test. Now, basically, if you want to work on a phone like this, there's a couple ways you do it. You can make a line cord that has some alligator clips on it, and you can clip on each line at once, or you can use a little wall plate like this. We use this as for single line telephones and 2-line phones. So basically it's set up for 1 line right now, and then when I plug this alligator clip a second line onto it, so when we put this on the back of the phone, we get 2 lines out of this, so we can switch. We can go from line 1 to 2, 1 to 2, and continue to work on the phone and access both lines at the same time, instead of trying to put it on 1 line and check that out for a little while and then taking it off and going to the other line. So it makes it a little simpler. But this is a Radio Shack telephone that we're working on today, and we're going to get it repaired here, and then we're going to do some final checks on it. I probably won't do another video on this telephone because I don't suspect it'll be an ongoing problem. I think once we replace that cord and we replace that modular port jack for the handset, we'll probably be finished up and everything will be ready to go. But this is a look of the inside of a Radio Shack 2-line phone. They've got it stuffed full of plenty of buttons, plenty of electronics, and looks like plenty of transformers. So it's got a lot of stuff in it, a lot of electronics, and it was a very good phone. One of the last good phones that you could get, just about. So I'm going to shut the video down. We're coming up on about 10 minutes, and they only let you do about 10-minute segments. So thank you for watching, and goodbye now.